For the past year, I've been working on something quietly in the background. Between teaching classes, grading essays, and having thousands of conversations with my students about identity, purpose, truth, faith, and everything in between, I kept noticing a similar pattern. A lot of us are living by stories we didn't even realize we believed. And these are stories like, you have to prove your worth. You should define yourself. Your feelings determine truth. And success will finally make you feel like you're enough. And in all honesty, these are the same stories I heard as a child from the culture at large. And they sounded convincing to me then, and evidently they're still convincing a lot of people today. And my students aren't the only ones who are listening to those messages and believing them. But underneath all those promises, I see a quiet exhaustion and an emptiness from trying to live out those narratives. And so these narratives, they don't just impact one person, they impact all of society because it shapes how we as individuals think about success, relationships, faith, and even how we view ourselves as individuals. And so I wrote this book that simply asks a question. What story are we actually living by? And so the story that I wrote, or the book I wrote, is called Lies I've Lived, A Return to the True Story. And it explores the cultural narratives that shape our lives and contrasts it with the deeper and better story of the gospel, the one that we were always meant to live. And so this book really grew out of conversations with my students and personal reflections and years of thinking about how stories shape who we become. And so my hope is that my book helps people step back and see the larger story that they're living inside. And because once we recognize what the wrong stories are, we can better see the truer story of the gospel.